All right. We're going to be getting started in just a moment with day 2 of the Using AI at Work challenge, where we're going to be talking about exactly where to get started using AI in your business. Yesterday, we talked about the tools to use, the tool stacks that we use to kind of cut through the clutter of all that's available out there. And today, we'll be talking about, now that you know the tools, where are we going to use those tools? So let's see here. You should be seeing us on Facebook and YouTube and LinkedIn. However, if you're joining us, the Facebook group is where you're going to be able to interact with us, where you're going to be able to participate in the chat. That's the only one that we'll be monitoring today. So let's see here. We should, okay. We're just making sure that all of our stuff is working. We're checking in LinkedIn and it looks like it is live. We're checking on Facebook and I see it live. It shows 4 minutes, 3 minutes and 16 seconds. Yep. All right. And then I see the YouTube. Okay. So we're going to be getting started in just a second. We're going to be recording it, of course. However, I think that there's going to be a lot of what my buddy Perry Belcher calls rider downers. There's going to be a lot of stuff that I'm going to be talking about that you're probably going to want to take notes. So, in addition to the recordings, you might want to have something to write with and write on. Okay. Let's see here. Let me just confirm our Facebook group is ready to go. Here we go.
Hey, Chris, I
I see
don't
you
see it
guys
in
in the Facebook
Facebook.
group. Oh, interesting.
I mean, like, I don't know how it is that you're seeing it, but if you're in the group itself, maybe you're seeing it on your Facebook personal
You know
page.
what? There was a little extra button called Go Live. So we're now live. We should be live now. It should be streaming through any second now.
Can you check YouTube as well? I only see something from 2 hours ago.
Yeah, let's see. I
Facebook
might
is
have to.
live. I can confirm it's live
Okay.
on Facebook.
And let's see what we've got here. I think we're good on YouTube. So, folks, we'll be getting started in just a moment. And again, my advice, grab something to write with. We will be covering a whole lot of stuff today. All right. Not as much as yesterday. If you haven't had a chance to watch the replay from yesterday, I would encourage you to, after this, go check it out. Yesterday, we talked all about the tools that we recommend. Okay. Great. All right, Facebook group. Now, if you're joining us on any other platform, what I would suggest is that you uh, go over to Facebook, and our group is called Using AI at Work. If you want to find it, you can easily go to chiefaiofficer.com/Facebook. It'll take you right to the group. Or you can just go to, okay, it says I'm live, manage. Just make sure it says in stream, using AI at work. It's probably on. There we go. Okay. Everybody, let me share my screen and let's get this party started. This AI party. Okay. You are in the right place. Let me get my notes together here. And all right, this is day 2 of the Using AI at Work challenge. Day 1, we taught you how to set yourself up with the easiest but the most versatile and powerful AI tools that are applicable to business use. today on day 2, we're going to work it out so that you'll leave this session with a list of areas in your own business where you can get started right away. And I'm not exaggerating or being hyperbolic. You'll be able to use this stuff today. And actually, sneak peek, some of the homework is do this stuff. And then on day 3 tomorrow, we'll talk about the opportunities for the AI-powered business person like you're becoming. We'll also be giving away bonuses each day. It's something that we do every time we do this challenge. Yesterday, we gave away our uh, extremely powerful but easy to use Prompt Vault software. The Prompt Vault software was built to, as I like to say, compress your prompting learning curve from months to minutes. Again, no kidding. You log in we set you up with a free account. You log in and there's business use case prompts ready to go. And these aren't junk prompts. These are prompts that we've used in our own business. Our clients are using them. So this is stuff that you can actually go and use right away. So real quick, in the Facebook group, this is where you can find us, chiefaiofficer.com/Facebook. I just want to ask, how many of you did the homework yesterday? Post it in the chat thread in the Facebook group if you did your homework. If you're not in the Facebook group, you can post it wherever you are. However, we won't be answering those threads. Now, if you recall, yesterday, all the homework was to go set up free accounts at several of the tools that I walked you through that we actually use and recommend in our own business. Easy homework. The intention was for you to get familiar with, first, set up the free accounts and get familiar with navigating through the tools and understanding with more context what they do and how you can use them. So learning this stuff is great, right? But the transformation does not occur unless you take the actions. And the homework again yesterday was to set up the accounts with ChatGPT for free, the HeyGen, 11 Labs, Fathom, Perplexity, and as a bonus, Cassidy.ai. Okay. Now, if you
Chris,
have a team, yes.
Just want to interrupt you. We're not seeing your screen.
Sure.
It's all just black. I'm not sure if you're trying to share a
Oh,
slide.
well, that's no good.
Maybe try and
Yeah.
stop share and reshare.
Yep. Sorry, guys. That's not. Let's see your screen. There we go. This is called building in public, I think is how they
We
call
got it
this.
now.
Okay. See if great. Thanks, guys. So, real quick, just as a recap, we want to make sure that you are in the Facebook group. So, what you're going to want to do is join us there by going to chiefaiofficer.com/Facebook. You should see that on the screen. That'll take you right to the Facebook group. It's free to join. It's where we're transmitting live. We're also doing that in LinkedIn and YouTube. Now, the recordings, I teach a lot, and it's not fluff. It's very actionable stuff. It's I've got no benefit to teaching you fluff. I want you to be blown away with this stuff so that you say, hey, if I'm going to learn AI and I'm going to learn how to do this in my business, I want that crew teaching me, right? So I want you to see, I want you to be able to take away from these trainings actionable items. If you have a team, if you have vendors, if you have clients that you want to kind of upskill and give them that baseline training on how can we use AI in our business? What tools are we going to use? Where do we get started? All of that is covered in this challenge. And for $49, you can get all the recordings. And you can use these as a training aid for your own team that wasn't able to make it. Or you can just use it yourself to refer back to any of the things that we covered. Because what I'm going to be sharing with you, I'm not kidding, is step-by-step how to get started using AI at work. You'll also get a follow-up webinar where I'm going to go into detail on how you can set up your own AI tech stack. Even if it's the tools we covered yesterday, I'm going to walk you through, make sure that you're good to go and that it's set up for your business. And then also, we will be providing the folks who buy the recordings with a special surprise, and that is our AI Enablement Accelerator Pack. It's 2 documents that if you were to take our AI readiness quiz, odds are, depending on how you scored, you're going to see a recommendation from us that you need 2 things. You need a game plan on what you're going to do, and you need a step-by-step instruction on how to do it. That's what this AI Enablement Accelerator Pack is. 2 documents, plus there's a few extra bonuses that are thrown in there. So for $49 to be able to get this level of training material for your team or for you to review again, a steal. All right, so let's get started. Welcome to day 2 of the Using AI at Work Transformation Challenge. I hope that you enjoyed and learned a ton yesterday because I showed you the exact AI tech stack that I'm using in our business and that we recommend you use in your business, your role with your team, however you're using AI. Nothing that we showed you yesterday requires any techie background. And trust me, these tools do not have a big learning curve. If you would have done the homework, which hopefully you did, and if you did, again, post it in the Facebook thread so I can see who's doing their homework, who's engaged. You would have realized, I think I understand how to use this tool, right? Again, the tools are not the hard part of using AI at work. And if you did, again, try any of the tools in the tech stack as the homework. Just put a comment in there letting me know which ones, right? Was there a favorite? Did you try all of them? Did you try one in particular? Did you only try one? Okay, great. Yeah, and if you just pop that into the Facebook thread, and if you're not in Facebook, you can post it wherever you're watching this. However, we will be interacting with you in the Facebook group. So now that you learned yesterday about the tools and how to do what I call think in AI, today's training is all about how to identify where to start introducing AI into the business, into your role, into your team. And we're going to do that by creating an AI business strategy. And even if you've never created a business strategy before in your life, the steps that I'm going to show you today are going to make it very simple for you to do exactly what you need to be doing to get started. You'll learn the basics of our proprietary framework that we use on clients and that we teach our Chief AI Officer graduates to use that we call Ignition. And it works with any small to medium business, and it starts the process of AIification, right? Which is a nonsensical word for, I guess, saying the introduction of AI into your business. My name is Chris Daigle, and this is an AI. Just kidding. This is the real me. I'm the CEO and co-founder of ChiefAIOfficer.com, where we educate, we train, we certify, and we provide software for people like you who are interested in using AI in their small to medium business or just to get their job done. Sorry, guys. I've been talking all morning. Now, first, I want to acknowledge everybody that showed up for day 2 because that tells me that you're serious about this stuff. You're a forward thinker. You're somebody who is ready to get on board and embrace the power of AI to really level up your business or your career trajectory. So, just like when I first started diving into AI for business application, I know that, like yesterday in particular, it can seem like a fire hose. I had asked yesterday what your skill level was between 1 and 10. We had a lot of people who this was probably their first exposure to really immersion into how can I use AI in my business, right? Just like you, when I got started, I knew business, but I didn't know AI, right? And what I'm telling you is that the stuff that I'm showing you it's intended for, even though it can apply to a power user, it's designed and taught for the non-technical new user in mind. So regardless of what your level is, I've got stuff for you today that you're going to be able to follow me. You're going to be able to understand it, and you're going to be able to start using it. Now, on the real, I want you to invest in yourself, just like I said yesterday. How do you do that? You commit to stay through the training today. And as a reward, we're going to be giving you some plug and play AI powered processes. We call them smart cuts that you'll be able to start using in your business as soon as you get off the training. They're examples of what I'm going to be teaching you. They're the output of what you'll be able to create in your own business. So as you can imagine, if you were here yesterday or you've watched the replay, we've got a lot to cover on this training. So I'm going to go ahead and dive in. But before we do, if you would, just post a yes or no in the comments to let me know, are you already using AI in your business or role? Just a simple yes or no kind of helps me gauge how deep or how surface I need to go with the training. So if you would take a second, and again, just post a yes or a no in the comments to let me know if you're already using AI in your business or your role. So, a question. Before we dive in, though, I want to bust some myths, right? Does AI really matter to a small to medium business? Is this just for the Fortune 500, right? You might think that for small to medium businesses that some of the barriers might be technology or costs or expertise. Maybe you're new to prompting. Maybe you've never even thought about leading a deployment of AI before. And yeah, while these can be challenges, they're not the main impediment for you being successful with AI in your business. You could be the best prompt engineer in the world and still not be able to provide a company with success. Now, I want to show you once you do understand this stuff, though, the impact that it has on a business. This is research that was conducted by Harvard and Boston Consulting Group recently with about 800 of these Boston Consulting Group consultants, and they were split into two groups. Now, keep in mind, Boston Consulting Group, extremely talented, extremely smart business consultants that provide a lot of value to big companies at a very high ticket, right? So these are the best of the best when it comes to consulting. In this study, what we did was Boston Consulting Group took half of that 800 of those 800 consultants that were part of the study, and they said, "Hey, go do your thing. You're great. You're an excellent consultant. You've got a great track record of getting results for your clients." Um, the other half said, "Hey, you get to use ChatGPT." Didn't give them a lot of training, didn't spend a lot of time turning them into prompt engineering experts. They just said, "You've got access to use the tool the way you see fit." And what this study did was it showed the impact of generative AI on not only a business, but on an individual's work performance, right? Now, how do you think the test ended up? No surprise. Um, they looked at over the course of about, I think it was 12 weeks, they looked at 18 different points of measurement that were, realistic examples of the kinds of work that are going to be done by an elite consulting company. Now, obviously, I'm going to do the big reveal. The consultants using ChatGPT 4 outperformed those who didn't. And they outperformed them by a lot on every dimension, on every way that they measured performance. So, look, for those of us who are familiar with the results that we can get from being AI enabled, this isn't a surprise. But I want you to take a look at the results that they got. Consultants using AI finished 12.2% more tasks on average. They completed those tasks 25% faster, and their output was at a higher quality result than what they would do without it, beating it by 40%. And again, this was across all measurement points. These are some very big impacts when you consider they didn't take that consulting group that was using ChatGPT 4 and run them through weeks and weeks and weeks of training. They said, "Hey, you guys get to use ChatGPT 4." And I think this is a study that was done in the fall. So it's not like now there's even more people that are using the tool. The consultants who scored the worst at the beginning of this had the biggest jump in their performance, an almost 50% increase when they got to use AI. Now, sure, the top consultants still got a boost, but less of one. But what we see here as a result of that is that this technology raises all workers to the top tiers of performance, right? So this is what that means for your business. It's not just about you learning AI, it's about what happens when you train customer service team and the interns, and everybody in your organization is now AI capable when it comes to at least using ChatGPT to assist in their job. Everybody gets a boost, right? And I want you to look at these numbers. 12% more tasks completed, 25% faster at a 40% higher quality output. I don't know what your business or role is. I don't know how much money you guys make in a year. I don't know what your ambitions are for the growth of the company. But whatever those numbers are, I want you to lay these results over your own business, just back of napkin, right? It doesn't have to be a precise calculation. But what would your company growth, what would your company revenue look like if you could increase your production by 12% and do it 25% faster? And as a bonus, it was actually better quality output for your clients. It's gonna have an impact, right? So we're seeing from this exam or this study that this technology, it helps, right? Big time. And that's great, but it only helps if those workers are able to use the tech in the role. So yes, Boston Consulting Group in this case was able to get these results. In your business, you can get these results, but it's a double whammy. You can't find the AI enabled employees to hire, to come in and train you or anything like that. But on top of that, you can't find anyone to lead the charge, right? So you can't find the employees who already know this stuff, and you can't find somebody to come in and upskill your employees. This role is the chief AI officer role. This is the gap that our training fills in the marketplace. Arithmetic is not an opinion. It's one of my favorite sayings. And when you look at these numbers and you lay those over your own numbers in your own business or your job or your team or your performance or anything like that, it's hard to argue that that would help us if we could do that, right? So I mentioned some impediments to enablement. And I mentioned, the barriers that people might think are, well, the technology is complicated, or it'd be really expensive, or we don't have anybody to do this, right? Or, again, maybe you've never prompted and all that kind of stuff. And as I mentioned, you can be the best prompt engineer in the world and not be able to bring success to a company when it comes to AI. And without this one ingredient, you're looking at a very challenging business environment. So the question I'm going to ask you is, are you going to be on the enabled side of AI or the extinct side, the losing side? If you recall that quote yesterday from Peter Diamandis, he said, by the end of this decade, there's going to be two types of companies or employees: those that are AI enabled and those that are extinct. You're here, like you're ahead of the curve. Trust me. So how do we get ahead of this? How do we stay ahead of the extinction curve, right? Winning with AI is easier than you think if you have a plan. Okay. Now, that's the secret ingredient. The number one impediment to implementing AI successfully in any business is going to be the result of a lack of planning. We've all heard this, right? You if you fail to plan, you should plan to fail. Because when you don't plan, it's like knocking over that first domino. Right? One wrong move and everything else comes tumbling down. Most people, entrepreneurs especially, I'm an entrepreneur, I've worked with a lot of you, and I get it. You don't find planning very sexy. You'd rather just get in there and just start using the tools and using ChatGPT to do this and automating some stuff. And that's great. I'm glad you're ambitious. However, it doesn't matter if you're a business owner, an employee, a solopreneur, a coach, a consultant. The need for a plan is the one thing that you all have in common when it comes to introducing AI successfully into your business. A clear plan is the shortcut to bypass all the other barriers to a successful application of AI in business. And I'm going to reinforce that with a quote from T. Boone Pickens, an American industrialist. I found this, like, when I saw this, it changed my perspective on being the entrepreneur who was ready to go in there and just start using brute force and sheer ignorance. The quote: I'd invest in a fool with a plan before I'd invest in a genius without one. This is a billionaire saying this. This is how important the planning is to it. Now, we have a step-by-step planning process that we use with clients that we call Ignition. It's the framework for developing their AI business strategy. Stick around because you'll have the chance to get your hands on this exact process. But for now, what I'm going to do is we're going to cover a few key steps in the planning phase. Now, a little tip. If you plan on monetizing this skill, whether that's as a consultant, as an advisor, as an AI expert, as a chief AI officer, whatever. If you're trying to lead the AI initiative, you need to remember something. A confused mind always says no. What I mean by that is that if you can't explain how you're going to do it, the leadership team or the decision makers, they're going to have concerns about investing in an uncertain outcome. But if you can come into the organization, you can meet with a leadership team, and you can provide clarity on the exact steps you're going to use to develop the AI business strategy, it becomes very easy for the decision makers to see exactly what's going to happen. Hey, there's a framework here, there's a process here. This is logical, this makes sense. And once they do that, it becomes very easy for them to become all in on the deployment. Makes it so much easier for the next steps that we're going to cover. So, what does this planning process look like? Step one, it's education. It's important that you make sure, as I just mentioned, you remove the confusion, not only about what you're going to do, but about these tools, right? In our ignition process that I talked about, we actually have a pitch deck that we provide the chief AI officer candidates, and they get to use this. It's a standard presentation that covers everything that a leadership team would need to kind of hit that level 101 of understanding. They now understand the applications of it. They understand the limitations of it. We're not trying to blow them away with a bunch of fancy stuff. We're going to give them a very specific tool stack that we're recommending. Obviously, it can be modified as you go throughout the implementation. But with that knowledge base, we've set the table for the leadership team to now go, okay, I see what's going to happen here. Now, we start with getting them in alignment on how they define a successful AI effort. Right. That's because now we've educated them. And then we're going to say, okay, guys, now that we know about these tools, what are we going to do with it? Right. And once they start talking, you'd be surprised with what we discover usually in an ignition session. We find out that maybe they've talked about leveraging AI, but they just don't have enough. They don't know enough about the capabilities of the tools to have a clear, like, group definition of what success looks like. So it's very important that we start here and we get them all on board. Same education. Next, what I want you to do is, as you're talking to the leadership team, is let's take a look at the forecasted ROI and let's show that to them as soon as we can. Reason being, as I mentioned earlier, arithmetic is not an opinion. If you can show them the impact of the small projects, right, the potential pilot projects that we'll talk about, and kind of extrapolate those wins out over a larger set of workflows or process within the business, the numbers really start to add up. And having been in those boardrooms and having talked to the decision makers, I can tell you, the executives, they like to see the gains, further making it an easier yes for you. Now, Chris, I've never done this before. What do I do? Here's the kind of the ballpark, the benchmark number that I suggest you use. In any process that will be supported by AI or AI powered automations, I would suggest you can comfortably start with a forecast of a 20% impact on any metric that gets AIified, right? And when you're communicating with the leadership team, you're going to say, "Hey, listen, we haven't gotten started yet, of course. However, here's the forecast that I'm seeing on this process, this process, this process," right? So when you take a look at that, whatever the KPIs are for that process, improve them by 20%, reduce them by 20%, whatever that measurement is, right? Now, overall, some of your AI optimizations are going to have way more impact, some less, but that 20% is a safe number to give them ballpark that they can start, again, back of napkin. Oh, if we do this over here, 20% reduction in hours required, 20% increase in output, whatever that thing may be. Now, to make it even easier, we have an ROI forecast tool that is in software development. It's not available today, but from the feedback from our own experiences and from the experiences of our clients, we know that we need these tools, so we're creating those for you. Now, what I would suggest is maybe take a look at your own business or on a client's business, which you can use this tool on either of those businesses, and it's going to give you a real fast calculation of impact on productivity, ROI, efficiency, and you can see it instantly. And when you can show that type of number to the leadership team, here's what's going to happen. They're going to look at each other and go, okay, right? So, and again, we'll share this with the chief AI officer community as soon as that software is out of QA. Now, the next step for you, once the leadership team has said, I like this, let's move forward. Our advice is to identify team members in the business who have the most interest and aptitude for working with these AI powered workflows, right? These are going to be your proxies. These are going to be the stand-ins for you. These are the ones, these are the individuals in the company who have the highest likelihood of success with the pilot projects that we'll be identifying. Now, the reason that I suggest that you do this, in particular, like how do I find them, Chris? Find the ones who are already using it, because some are using it at home. Some of them are probably already using it in the business. A hint would be to start your search in the marketing department. Why? Because they tend to be uh, early adopters of technologies that can impact conversions and cost per click and all the metrics that they look for on the marketing side. So odds are they're either already using it or they've got the ability to use it in some of the tools that are already part of the marketing tech stack. I would suggest that you take this selection process of who's going to sit on this AI coalition, that you take it very seriously, because there are concerns that individuals have about, is AI going to take my job? Is AI going to totally disrupt what we're doing here? As a result of that uncertainty, there's going to be some fear. You do not want someone who is fearful of AI taking their job sitting in on this committee. They may not put in the effort required to make it a win. It might make more, again, a confused mind. It might make more sense for an individual who is fearful of it to want the projects to fail so that they can stick with the status quo. So the big tip here, find people who are in the organization who are already using it and want to be involved in this exciting project. Now, once we've done that, momentum starts with quick wins. You don't want to come in on day one and have too ambitious of an effort with your pilot projects. We're going to focus on the low-hanging fruit. We're going to start with known pain points within any department or role. We're going to take a look at use cases. We're going to have conversations with the team, and we're going to be looking to solve problems that that um, that have an impact, but have high impact and low risk. Right. So we're gonna run you through some examples of how we can prioritize these, but we're going to start with tasks that ideally are data driven or they're repetitive. Some examples might be with the leadership team. You could give the decision makers a win by showing them how to summarize meetings, industry content, reports. And if you consider that the leadership teams, they're knowledge workers. And in most businesses where you're going to be working, we would be categorized as knowledge workers. We take information, we process that information, and we do something with it, right? We turn it into a product, we answer customer questions, we create content, whatever. The knowledge workers who spend the most time working with this stuff are going to be the leadership teams. And if you can save them time by showing them really simple wins, here's how we can take all of that industry research from last quarter from our competitors and give you a summary in about 30 seconds. It's an easy win, shows them the leadership team, and it saves them time. And none of us have ample time. We're all bandwidth constrained. Now, in marketing, it might be something showing them how to generate keywords for Google ads, SEO content, anything that is task related, data driven, but it can save them time. In HR, it could be, the hiring process is a real slog. You hire the wrong candidate, and there are consequences, right? So you could show them how we're using, and in our business, we're using personality tests combined with ChatGPT and the description of the role to say, is this person a fit? Here's the role description. Here's their Colby index. Here's what we're looking for. Grade this person on a scale of 1 to 10 of if they would be a good fit. Simple things speeds up the process of evaluation of the candidates for HR. Customer service, maybe we can introduce an AI-powered chatbot or some sort of automations to the process. And I'm actually going to show you an example of what that would look like and the impact it has on a business. Low risk, high impact. Okay. And once we've gotten this list together of opportunities, we're going to prioritize them. All right. So we're going to rank them again by high impact, high likelihood of success. Now, in our program, we have a risk impact assessment, a prioritization tool that we use to quickly take a list of tasks and determine, to score, to grade which of these tasks should we start with today. We call it the FIRE methodology. Comes with all the instructions and everything like that. But it really allows you to pretty quickly get a numeric value associated with each of the pilot projects, potential pilot projects that we've identified, so that you can very clearly say, hey, it looks like we should probably start here. Now, again, going back to what I shared with you earlier, we're not going to be too ambitious. We're going to start with one or two of these, and we're going to be using the AI enthusiasts already in the business to get started. Now, once we've done that, it's just time to get started, right? Okay, great, Chris. But where do I get started? How do I do that, right? So if you've never gone through the exercise of identifying these pilot projects, and the information that I shared with you doesn't necessarily instantly stand out where, oh, I can use that, that, and that. If you still need some help in identifying, what we do is we use a tool called Delegate and Elevate. It's an easy tool, and we use it to determine where to start. It's a tool that we learned from the EOS community. We're certified in EOS methodology. It's a framework for growing businesses, and it's been a big help for us in identifying how we create that AI business strategy. So, this Delegate and Elevate exercise I'm about to share with you, I want you to listen. You can do this right after the webinar and put it into practice. Now, we like to start here when working with pilot projects to not only help us identify the workflows that we're going to get started on, but what I love about this is it gets immediate buy-in from users because it addresses tasks they don't like doing. If we can get those things, we can start there and get them off the plate as a deliverable for whatever that role is, that individual goes, you know what? I like this AI stuff. Let's do more of it. So let me show you how to fill out a delegate and elevate sheet. And this is what it looks like. If you don't have this, you can actually go to Perplexity. We talked about that search engine, chat engine yesterday. You can go to Google and you can just type in delegate and elevate template. There's going to be plenty of them provided by the EOS community. And it looks like this. It's just an XY matrix. And in the bottom right quadrant is where we're going to focus, right? This is the stuff that people don't like doing and they're not good at it anyway. Now, maybe you don't have a client, maybe you don't have a team to do this with. Follow along and do this for yourself. What are the things that are expected of my role that I don't like and I'm not good at? Because the aim of this effort is to get these off the table for you. Get them delegated to AI, automation, or some combination of the two as soon as possible. All right. Continue to list out the things that are now, this would be, I would want you to list out all the things. Okay, in a week, what do? I do this, I do that, I do this, I do that. And then I would start putting these in the right category, right? So in the delegate and elevate matrix, we run through these categories of, I mean, there might be some things that you don't like doing, but you're actually good at it. You just don't like doing it, right? Maybe that's writing. Maybe that's got something to do with, managing the books or whatever the case might be. We still want to know these because these will be at some point opportunities for introducing an AI powered process to the table. The like and good, we want to start moving you more into that section of the delegate and elevate, where you're spending more time on the tasks and ultimately really spending as much time as possible on the tasks that really charge you up, right? Like where you go into flow. You don't even like, oh, it's already 5 o'clock or whatever, right? Like the more time that you as an individual or your employees or your team can spend in that upper left quadrant of love and great, or that upper right quadrant of like and good, morale through the roof. Support for AI internally, the culture shifts quickly. People, they are no longer as fearful of it. They're like, oh, AI took my job. Well, actually, it just took the parts I didn't like doing anyway. So if you can do that, a win on so many levels. You look like a hero. You're getting results for the company that are showing that AI has application and result for us. And additionally, you're winning, the hearts and minds of the employees or the team where this is being applied. Now, once we've identified this list, this would be a great time to run it through that fire matrix and identify where we're going to start. Now, with that in mind, after we've covered this, I'm just curious, post in the thread maybe a few processes that you absolutely know you'd like to get off your obligation list, right? That you're ready to get started with. I'm just curious what some of the processes are. There's usually some patterns, and I'm curious to see if we continue to see those patterns in the sessions today. So if you would just post that in the thread wherever you happen to be viewing this. Again, we're interacting with everybody in the Facebook group, which you can find at if you go to Facebook and type in "using AI at work," you'll see our group pop up, and you can go in there and interact with us. Now, once you've built the list, it's time to go to work. In our way of doing things, we look at 3 options. Okay. Those options are to automate. Can I automate some of this? Can I augment, meaning human in the loop? Can I at least take some of the burden of this deliverable off of the human that's executing it by using AI? Or is it a pure AI play? So now that we understand these 3 categories of opportunity, we're going to take that, whatever is in don't like and not good at it anyway. We're going to start there after we've run it through our fire matrix to get a graded score on exactly where we need to get started. Here's what we do next. We're simply going to map it out. Because to determine which approach you're going to take and what has to happen for that approach to be successful in adding AI's impact, we need to get clear on the exact steps involved in that don't like and not good. For me, don't like and not good down at the bottom would be something to do with the financials. I'm not good at it. Don't like spending time doing it. We have people that do it. However, in your case, whatever that may be, the first step that we want to do is we want to identify the task. Okay. It's going to be running the books. Then what we want to do is just really get clear on what is the workflow or process that we're going to be starting. Okay. Step number 2, we're going to define the start and end points for the process. These are kind of the boundaries of the process map that we're going to be developing, right? At this point, this process starts. At this point, this process is complete. This might be get reports from the corporate card. And this step at the end might be accurate financials or accurate categorization of expenses has occurred. It's all the things that happen in the middle that we're about to talk about. But that you want to start those start and end points for this process. Number 3, just list out all the steps. Don't worry about the order necessarily at this point. Just capture every action involved, every decision involved, and just go, okay, then I would do this, and then we do this, and just write that stuff down. 4th step in mapping it out. We want to make sure that the sequence of steps is accurate, right? And we want to include any decision points where if I do this, then this goes here and this goes here. So we're kind of getting, now that we've identified all the things that we need to do, we're going to put them in order. I do this actually, I'd have to send the email and get those first, whatever that process looks like for you. So now we've got the process has been defined. We've identified the steps where it starts and ends. We've identified the steps in between. We've ordered those steps and the appropriate sequence of events that needs to occur to get that result. Then what we're going to do is we're going to create a visual representation of the process map. Now, for 2 seconds, I'm going to get what might sound like it's a little technical, but it's not. You can use the models, the LLMs, the large language models, ChatGPT or any of these, to take your process and turn it into a programming language called mermaid.js. Very easy. And that all you say is, please take these steps and turn them into mermaid.js. The reason is because we're going to use that code and a tool that I'm going to show you in just a second to create the process map, the visual of the process map itself. Now, step 6, once we've done that, we're going to review the map with the process owner. Maybe that's you for your own business, or maybe it's you're working with a client and you've identified, hey, okay, so you're managing the expense categorization. Okay, take a look at this process map. Does this look like all the steps that we would need to do to complete that? Again, what we're looking for, if our process is ill-defined, our outcome and our ability to automate with AI is going to be impaired. So that's why we're doing this level of clarity, because listen, folks, you do this right one time and you don't have to mess with it again. You still want to check the output and that sort of thing, but you won't have to go through this process for that workflow, and that gets off your desk. That gets off the bandwidth obligation for anybody in the team. Now, step 7, we're going to review and refine. We're going to make sure that after we've talked to that process owner, we've got everything in here. We're going to make any necessary adjustments. And then step 8, it's time to test it. All we're going to do is run through this process, make sure that we've documented everything, okay, and that I am able to recreate this process manually at this point, okay. Step from here, once we've tested the process map and I'm able to get the result manually, which indicates that each step that I followed was accurate and in order, then here comes the fun part. We're going to look at that process map, right? The visual that we did in number 5 by using mermaid.js. And we're going to say, okay, on step 1, okay, can I automate this? Can I send data to ChatGPT? You don't have to like execute it or build it at this point, but what we're looking for is at each node in the process, can I automate it? Can I augment it? Is this human supported by tech, or can I have AI do this step? Okay, right? Or none, right? You're going to document that on that step. Next step, automate, augment, AIify. Oh, AI could do that. Okay, next step, next step, next step. So at the end of this process, what we've now done is we've got a very clearly defined process map that we've confirmed gets the result that we're looking for. And now we've overlaid with that application of tools. Could be the tools that we talked about yesterday, right? Like simple, easy to use, ready to go tools. And we're going to now have a map. Okay, guys, we want to build an AI powered process. Here's what we do. We're going to use this tool at this step. That's going to pass the data over here. AI is going to take that, transform it, categorize it, all these things. And what you've just created is an AI powered process. These steps that I shared with you, there's not much more detail. It's not like if you join the program, I'm going to give you, a deeper explanation for what you want to do today, because your homework is going to be there's a few things, but one of them, a bonus piece, is going to be to actually map it out or go ahead and automate or AIify one of your processes internally. Now, process mapping, again, as an entrepreneur, some of you are entrepreneurial, and even if you don't realize that you are, we want to get in and just start. Show me the tools. Just teach me how to use ChatGPT. Teach me how to prompt. Right? I just want to get in there, and that's fine. It'll help you a little bit, but you won't get the impact that can come from AI if you don't have a plan. So, I showed you yesterday how we document SOPs in our own business and other businesses. This is the exact process that we're using. If you're not using Loom for your SOP creation and documentation, then I would suggest that you're not quite thinking in AI yet. As anybody who will be leading the charge for AI in your business or a client's business or in your role, whatever the case might be, process mining and process documentation is going to be a big part of it. Exactly what we just showed you, right? Because without knowing what you need done, you cannot really introduce an AI or automation solution. So this is a very simple process, but a huge time saver when it comes to this, especially when you're, as I suggested yesterday. What I'm going to show you is how you need to document these SOPs. But what I want you to do is document how to document an SOP. Create the tutorial video of exactly what I'm going to show you through here. These steps are very simple. Once you create that, okay, hey team, I want you to watch this. This is how we're going to document processes. Okay, you hand that over to them and let them go to town. So, let's see here. First step: record the process on Loom. If it's a process that cannot be visually run through with a Loom screen recording, what I do is I take a recording app. I take the native app on my iPhone called, I think it's just Voice Memo. Say, okay, Jane, I'm going to turn this on and I'm going to ask you some questions about that process. I'm going to record the process either, or if it is something where they can show me on the computer, the same thing. I'm just going to sit there with them and I'm going to have them narrate what they're doing. Oh, to do that, I go here. Wait a minute, how did you get there? Oh, yeah, you're right. There's another step. I actually have to log in here. All these things are being documented because if you recall, if we have an incomplete process map, we have an incomplete solution. So I'm going to just be asking those questions. Okay, and then what do you do? Oh, and you click on that button up there. Yeah. Oh, okay, right. I'm just capturing all this information. Once they've done that, whether it's a voice memo where they just kind of audibly ran through their process, or it's a loom, I'm going to use the transcription from that session. Now, to document a process this way, however long it takes somebody, 5 minutes, less, to show you how to do something. To document it the old way, which you certainly can, it's going to take a lot longer. Would have to get rewritten and screenshots and added to a Google Drive and all these types of things. So with this transcription, what you're going to do though is you're going to go to Chat GPT and you're going to say, Chat GPT, I need your help in creating and documenting a an SOP for this process because I plan on automating the process or introducing an AI powered process to replace this one. Right? You tell it what it wants. You feed it that transcript. It's going to print out all the steps already summarized without all the ahs and ums. Clarity. Human in the loop. Augmentation. At this point, you would want to review it. Go back to Jane and say, "Hey, Jane, does this look accurate?" Yeah, it looks okay. Great. So now that we've done that, the human review begins. Right. So let's take a look at what this might look like in a pretty common business use case. Whether you have a big company or small company, if you sell something, you've got customers. If you have customers, you should be prepared to service the customer's needs, whether it's I want to buy more, I want to return, I can't log in, I need to update my billing information. Depending on the size of your organization, that can be very burdensome. So here's what it typically looks like for um, a non AI enabled company. You can see these steps. I don't think that anybody would disagree that customer inquiry comes in, the agent's going to review it, they're going to go into the software, they're going to create a ticket, a support ticket for the client. They're going to put in all the details. Okay, well, what were you saying? Okay, okay, Mr. Jones, it's this. Okay, great. They're going to describe the issue, and then they're going to put it into this needs to go to tech, this needs to go to fulfillment, wherever. That process typically in any company, and this is an average based on research, it's 11 to 17 minutes in a manual process to create that customer service inquiry, right? That's not even the solution. That's just taking in the information, the need from the customer, and preparing it to go downstream. Now, if you see on the right-hand side, what we've got here, this is an example of what that process map would look like. Now, if you remember, we talked about mermaid.js. This is when you plug that into the tool that called mermaid.live. This is the output. That code get translated into a visual representation of your process. And when I was talking earlier, where I want you to go through and okay, where does this process start? Well, it doesn't start until a customer is asking a question. Okay, great. Then what happens? Then what happens? Then what happens? Then what do you do? Right? Each one of these steps. Now I can go and say, okay, agent receives inquiry. Does an agent need to receive that? Probably not. We could probably have AI take that in and then do something with it. Okay, open the support software. Don't need an agent to really log into that. If we can integrate we're starting to think in AI when it comes to this process. Where can we? Oh, okay. Create a new ticket. Well, the customer sent us their information. We can probably figure out a way to format that information to create a ticket automatically. That's the process that we're going through here, right? Okay, now 11 to 17 minutes to create a customer service ticket. Again, remember, decision makers, arithmetic's not an opinion. If I can show you the impact on something that hey, we've got customer service. This looks like an accurate process. Okay, sure. I'll agree with you, consultant or AI expert. Now, this is where they really get excited. The process changes after I've done my evaluation, right? Okay, Zapier, it's an automation tool. Okay, so when the customer inquiry comes in, I'm going to use a Zapier trigger to create the new ticket. It's going to take in the information, like exactly what we just walked through. Here's what that new map is going to look like. Now, what's the impact of that? So we saw that the manual way, the labor intensive way, the expensive way, the way that deals with oh, so and so didn't show up today, or so and so's having a bad day, and they treated a customer like all that stuff, not counting those things, just strictly the mechanics of customer service. When you look at it this way, it goes from 11 to 17 minutes down to less than a minute. Same process, right? Or same deliverable from that process, which is ticket was created. Look down here at the bottom of this. The ending of this process is that a customer ticket has been created. So less than a minute. Now, what's the impact of that? The difference between automated versus the manual process? Well, if you got a small business, maybe don't get a ton of customer inquiries, right? With 5 to 20 inbound queries from customers per day, that's saving from 1 to 5 hours a day. Oh, well, Chris, that's not going to transform my business. No, but this process combined with that process, combined with this workflow, combined with that workflow, this is how it's done. This is how you have impact. This is AIifying a business. And it starts with laying the brick, and then the next brick, and then the next brick. You don't walk in, kick the doors in like Kenny Powers and go, hey, everybody, AI is here, right? Like, y'all can go take a break. AI is going to do it. That's not how it's done. It's done through exactly what I've shared with you today. We identify the things, starting with the don't like and not goods on the delegate and elevate. We map them out. We create the process flow. We identify where we can automate, augment, or AIify. We put it to work, and then maybe we're saving time. Now, maybe your business is a little bit bigger. You're getting 20 to 100 customer service inquiries, whether that's a bot, whether that's an inbound, could be a call. We've got voice AI that can handle this stuff nowadays. Could be a customer service email. You can see that the bigger impact obviously comes from the magnification of the size of the business. Medium traffic business, 100 tickets a day could save 28 hours in like human focus. It's huge. High traffic, of course, if you're getting more than 100 customer service interactions per day, it just goes up from there. I don't know what you're paying your customer service people, but it's something. It's more than you're paying the AI. And it's not about, okay, now we can fire customer service. That's not what I'm suggesting. For some companies, the reality is that would make the most sense. For other companies, what they're going to want to do is, oh, now that these folks that know our business and know our products and they're familiar with our customers, and like that's a domain expertise that we don't want to let go of. Let's upskill them. Let's teach them how to use ChatGPT, how to use these tools, and let's put them in a role where they can have more impact, where now their bandwidth matters. If you remember the Boston Consulting Group example that I shared earlier, those who were measured at the beginning that were performing the lowest had the biggest increase, almost a 50% increase in their ability to perform in that role. So I'm not saying that you're going to fire everybody, right? Maybe you keep, instead of 10, you keep 2 on there, and those customer service agents, they handle the ones that really do require human discretion or maybe a few more steps. They're not if you've heard of the 80-20 principle, they're not part of that trivial mini, right? So you keep a few on there that are there to help with the more challenging customer service issues. The rest of that staff, you've now got choices. Hey, let's get them upskilled. And with that knowledge that they brought from customer interaction, can they inform marketing? Can they support product creation? Can they, there's ways that knowledge that they have about your business and your customers, now that they're no longer needed at customer service, they can actually provide more value to the company. So a few other examples, content creation. That's one that you're going to hear a lot with generative AI. It's very good at creating content if you are very good at prompting to get that good content. Now, Chris, I'm not a prompt engineer. Don't worry. Yesterday, we gave you a tool that obviates the need for you to be a prompt engineer. You can be a prompt engineer, but kind of like, don't look over here, everybody. I'm prompting, right? You're using our calibrated prompts to get you the best output with the least amount of effort. But in content creation, you can see here, and yes, we do have examples here where it's AI only, but our preference is AI plus human at this point. Reason being, let's have a human go in there and say, oh, you know what, let me just rearrange this. Or, okay. looks good, right? You're reducing the risk of any type of, I don't know, screw ups on behalf of the AI by having that human kind of review the output before they go. Now, instead of the human spending 10 hours a day in this scenario, the human's now spending only 2 hours because the AI did all the heavy lifting and the human gets to come in and they get to use the human part of the creativity or the human discretion on it doesn't read right, whatever that may be. So you're getting the best of both worlds here. Now, what does that save? In this case, in this example, $27,000 a year if you're paying somebody, what would that be? $15 an hour. It's not a big wage. If this is an environment where you're paying more for that, just boost that number up as far as money saved, right? Time saved is important because again, that individual can now wear a few hats. They can sit in a few seats in the business instead of just one that took them 10 hours per day. Research, same thing. We're going to see these same types of benefits. Instead of 10 hours for the human, now the human's only spending 5 hours in this example. The AI is doing, well, not even the human spending 5 hours. The total time is 5 hours. AI production, 3 hours, and that's working with the human to extract the content or context or whatever. But again, $15 an hour, $27,000 in savings. Now, what we've just shown you is the example of what the impact that automation and AI can have on a process. Now, if you've never done process mining before, it might sound intimidating, even if you followed our stuff. Now, let's compress the learning curve even more. This is the time in the call where we do the free bonuses. Segovia is about to come on board and walk you through what it is today, but these are called smart cuts. And these are step-by-step processes that most of you are already doing or would like to do in your business if you had the bandwidth. Now, why are we doing this? This is a shortcut, a smart cut for you to be able to start to get the benefits of an AI-powered process in your business without you having to start from scratch. This is instead of going from the blank page and starting to document your process, you can just come in here and grab a few of these. So with this, Segovia, do you mind taking a few minutes and just kind of walking everybody through what they're getting today and how they can use them and access those?
Sure, Chris. If you want to unshare your screen, I think I can
Yep.
share mine. Excellent. All right, let's see. So many tabs. I think this looks like the one. All right, are you seeing that there?
Let's see here. Screen's loading. Yes, I do. I see AI Smart Cuts collection.
Excellent. Okay. Yeah. So, as Chris was alluding to, process mapping and process mining are two incredibly important parts of bringing an AI-ified business, online, if you will. And so, you can definitely use Loom if you're not already using that tool. You want to, begin to document the process of how do you document processes and then spread that among your team and, look for opportunities where AI can be fit into the mix. But as a way to, as Chris likes to say, with the Prompt Vault Studio, you can take what could take hours, to minutes, and this is another shortcut or what we call a smart cut to bring that learning curve up and be able to pass these around to your team. So you might go, oh my God, I didn't know this was even possible, but I'm not the guy to be doing it. I think I'll pass this down to Jane or Joe or or Jim or whoever's on the team who can actually get into doing the task of performing a new infusion of AI. So each of these kind of solves business problems. They're categorically broken down into like business, marketing, social. Right now, we've created a pack of them. So it's a bunch of smart cuts that are in the marketing category. You can see, I guess I have to scroll on this window here. You can see, down at the bottom, it says marketing. It might be a little bit small, but these are the 6 that are pink are all in the marketing category. There's one that's in the data category, which is the blue one on the left. Optimizing data. Some of them, this one uses, I think, Chris, yesterday you talked about 11 labs. So using 11 labs, if you're not familiar with that, creating ads with AI, that's actually in 11 labs. Then you've got Lumen 5 and Opus Pro. These are all tools that Chris has not talked about, but we, definitely use in different aspects of our team. how to set up chatbots. So you'll want to come in here. Now, the thing to know is this is kind of what a smart cut looks like. Actually, let me just pop back out here for a second. Do you see this when I click on this? Okay, good. It
Yep.
does show it. So essentially, you can click on any of these, and it'll then allow you to pop in your email, and you can download each of them. A smart cut is
Guys,
essentially
these are
like an
free.
SOP. Yeah, this is free. You just go in here. This
Yeah.
is part of, if you've attended the challenge and you're come to the end of day 2, congratulations and thanks for sticking here. So
We're hooking
um,
you up.
yeah, I'll give you the URL at the end of my little demo. But essentially, if you look at what they are, it's like a glorified, SOP. It's a tutorial that guides you through. So there's a cover page, talks about what it is, a little bit of a setup so you get an expectation of what the smart cut is covering. Any tools or steps that might be involved if you need to go and get an account for, Opus Pro or OpenAI, ChatGPT. And then you'll get into the mix, right? On the left side, you're going to have the details of what are the steps you're going to follow. You can kind of see how we're interacting, in this case, with ChatGPT, the dialogue between, you or the user, and then the response back from the AI agent. And then, that just carries on. Sometimes we'll have screenshots that are related to, third-party tools, if it's reviewing Opus or Lumen or what have you. And then on the last page, we've got a couple options depending on the smart cut. Some of them will have a video that links directly to our YouTube channel where you can watch the video walkthrough of the same tutorial you're kind of going through. And then if there is a prompt, as you can see in this particular instance, there are several prompts. Pretend you are one of the top social media marketers, for said industry, and you want to, talk about X subject. And what we're going to do is come up with a bunch of ideas to generate for a LinkedIn post. So you could copy this directly out of this PDF. That's fine. However, you can also go to the last page and click on Access Prompt, and that would take you directly into the prompt vault. And you'd be able to go, oh, hey, there's the, 1 or 2 or 3 prompts that were used inside the smart cut in order to, get the results that we're kind of documenting. And you'll note in the subtlety, Chris, you didn't tell me that I wasn't sharing my screen again, and I have to press some magic button.
I'm seeing your screen.
Yeah, but I was looking at this page. All right. Well, There goes my demo. This little tool, guys, like switching screens, is just such an annoying thing. You got to click an extra button, folks.
So anyway, go back through that. I think it's important, Segovia, because there's a lot of.
Let me just scroll through it. You heard the dialogue, but essentially, here are the pages that I was referring to. Unfortunately, I was not watching the chat if somebody pointed it out in Facebook. So you can see here's the tutorial. This is the prompt I referred to. You can copy and paste that. And then the last page was where I was pointing out a video, like a button that links to a tutorial on YouTube, or a button that is, going directly into the Prompt Vault Studio. Now we'll press the magic switch tab button, and there we go.
There we go.
The Prompt Vault. So if you clicked on that button, you'd be taken into the vault, and you'd probably be shown only 1 or 2 prompts relevant. But I wanted to show a cascade of prompts in here just to say you can see that this one has a big watermark of the Smart Cut logo in the background. So you can definitely just quickly identify which ones are related to smart cuts if you're, moving around the vault. So how do you get your hands on these? I don't think you can see my address in the URL address bar, but if you just roll your browser over to smartcuts.io, full stop, and hit enter, it will take you right back to the page which I shared the first screen. So that's smartcuts.io. That'll take you directly to the place where you can get these smart cuts. I recommend, if you're watching this replay, or if you're watching live, that you go and download these, because we will pull these off the shelf. If you were here in the last challenge, you'll notice there might be one overlapping, but most of these are all new, and you got to show up to get the goodies. So Chris, that's all I got from you. The Smart Cut Factory. I'll pass the screen share back to you.
Yeah. So here's what I like about these smart cuts, especially in this instance. If you're a chief AI officer, you've got a whole library of these things, so that as you're engaging with your own business or a client, it's very easy for you to say, okay, great. Like to go through that process of identifying pilot projects and go, okay, great. Got one. Here we go. Let's just do this thing. Makes it a lot faster. However, if you are, you're at a place where you're going to be creating your own process maps. Use these as a guide, right? Yours may not be as fancy or screenshots and all that kind of stuff that ours does. However, if you can look at these and see the flow and the tempo and the elements that we've included in there, including the prompts, including the video tutorial walkthrough, you can see that these things are. I mean, this is to create one of these on your own. Regardless, let's say you're an AI expert, it would be a heavy lift. There'd be a lot of work required for you to create this. If you are not an AI expert, forget about it, right? Now, you don't have to be an AI expert, but you can start introducing AI into your business. So I'm going to, let's see here. If you would stop that, that puts me back in a situation where I can go bada boom, bada bing. Okay. So the smart cuts. Guys, this is pretty incredible. And again, the URL is smartcuts.io. Is that correct, Segovia? Oh, I've lost your audio there. Can you guys hear me though? Yep. Okay. So we'll put that link in the Facebook thread so that you guys can just go in there, click in it, get your smart cuts ASAP. Okay. Now I am here. Let me get back on track. We only got a few more slides to cover, I think, everybody. So again, just a reminder, listen, if you thought this was helpful and you want to be able to refer back to this, not just the tools section and not just the where do I get started section that we covered today, but also tomorrow's section, $49 gets you that. You get the follow-up webinar where I go into detail with you on how to set up your own AI tech stack. And then you'll get that AI enablement accelerator pack, which I mentioned, which is that strategy guide and the implementation checklist. So it's really supporting what we covered today. $49 and you can train your team up with this stuff. Now, a few other things, pre-homework assignment. If you haven't checked out our podcast, I would suggest you do. This podcast is called Using AI at Work. And guess what we talk about, right? What I do on this is I'm blessed and fortunate to have an incredible network of high achievers who have done some fantastic stuff in their careers. I'm bringing them in here and I'm saying, how is your company using AI? How are you using it to get things done? How is this department doing that? This department doing that? And what it's going to do is if this is kind of new for you or you're interested, but you haven't quite made that flip to thinking in AI yet, you're going to be listening to it and you go, oh, that's a great idea. We can actually do that. Now that I know what these tools are, I just heard how this person's doing that. Can we do that in our own business? So the idea behind do a episode every week. I limit the dad jokes. There's not a lot of corn there, so it's a great webinar or a great podcast. And the people that go through it, they say they get a lot out of it. So I would encourage you to do that. Now, in the future, in the very near future, episodes will come with a smart cut attached to them. And what I mean by that is if I'm talking to somebody and they're sharing with me, we'll go back to the example I used. They're sharing with me how they've introduced AI-powered processes into their customer service. They walk us through it, right? My team goes through the episodes and creates a smart cut around that process or processes that were discussed in that episode so that as you're listening to the episode, if you like what you hear, all you got to do is go download that smart cut, give it to whoever's in that department, say, hey, give this a shot. Man, boom, 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 boom. We're doing this stuff quick, right? We're not playing around. Next, we also, in addition to having this on iTunes and Spotify and all that good stuff, we do video versions of this. You can find our channel at YouTube. It's the Chief AI Officer video channel, right? New ones coming out, again, every week. I think we are up to episode 20 at this point, almost. Okay. That was the housekeeping. Now, let's talk about some homework. I mentioned to you that I suggested that you do the delegate and elevate exercise. Okay. We don't, that's an EOS tool. Give them all the credit for it, but you can go and get a template of this, or it's got a sheet of paper, draw a line down the middle of it, a line across it. And there's your framework, your XY, right? The main thing that I want you to focus on is that bottom right corner. the stuff that I don't like doing and I'm not good at it anyway, but it's got to get done. And I can tell you, if you're like me, those things are the ones that you wait till the last minute, they get done sloppily. People are waiting for it. They're a bottleneck, whatever the thing is, because you don't like doing it and you're not good at it anyway, right? It's just, it's not something that you're compelled to do. Do this. And then the next step, build a process map around a couple of those, exactly like we showed you, right? Document it yourself. You can narrate it yourself and take that and give it to ChatGPT. Or if I'm not mistaken, we probably have an SOP creation prompt in the prompt vault. So use your prompt vault access to do this, right? Now, a couple bonuses. If you identify that process, I want you to go through and at each node, identify. And you don't have to know exactly how you're going to do it or what tool you're going to use, but you can go in there and say, okay, we can automate this, we can augment this, we can AIify this, and go through that and do that. Guys, it doesn't have to be perfect. The intention is that we're getting you in motion. We're getting you some practice, right? We're getting you where it doesn't matter if you screw up. It doesn't matter if you do it wrong, right? But the repetitions of getting used to this and going through it and going, hey, that wasn't that hard. It's encouraging you to start introducing these activities into your own business or run it by the boss. Hey, I got an idea of how we can introduce AI into the business, right? Here's an extra bonus. Go ahead and AIify the process, right? Like if you feel comfortable, we've given you our tool stack. If that tool stack combined with your process map and identification of each node of automate, augment, or AIify, if you can apply some of the tools, even if you're actually just AIifying one or two steps in that process, it's a bonus. Now, what do you get? Well, we'll give you free stuff tomorrow, whether you did your homework or not. We'll give you free stuff today, whether you did your homework or not. It's not about a pass-fail situation. It is about you transforming from somebody who is maybe barely AI literate to somebody who is confident with the use and application of these tools in your business, in any business, right? So with that, let's see. Are there any questions, guys? If you have some questions, you can post them in the Facebook thread. I'm happy to answer them. We'll stay on for a few more minutes. But again, a recap of the homework: delegate and elevate exercise. Build your own process map from something that you pulled from that delegate and elevate. Identify once you built that process map. And guys, it doesn't have to be perfect again. And maybe you missed a couple steps, or maybe but I want you to get into the habit of understanding how this stuff works and knowing, hey, I can do this. It's not complicated. There's no impediment. This is the part. Remember the T. Boone Pickens quote: I'd invest in a fool with a plan before I'd invest in a genius without one. You are now becoming, like me, a fool with a plan by building these things out, right? And I want you, like by doing this, you demystify. It goes from being kind of like this fuzzy, hazy, oh, how do we use AI, to something very precise, very crystallized. I can do this. I've done it before. Yeah, it was in practice. And here we're going to throw an extra bonus. Do 2 of these processes, right? But the intention is you're getting some reps. You're getting some activity. You're getting used to this. You're starting to see how it works so that when you can go into a place and say, hey, I know AI, right? Hey, boss, I know AI. Hey, we're looking for, that's me. You can go in there and with confidence and say, listen, I'm just going to run through the basics, everybody, but here's what we're going to do. We're going to use Loom and we're going to document the process, and I'm going to take it and I want to take that and turn it into mermaid, blah, 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 blah. And you're going to show them how this is done. You look like a superstar. And let me tell you the truth. Generative AI, mass use of generative AI still hasn't occurred. Most people, I wasn't using Jasper and before that Jarvis or any of the ChatGPT 2, 2.5 or 3 powered tools. It wasn't there yet. When 3.5 came out at the end of November of 2022, the world woke up to what's possible, right? However, most of your peers, most of your colleagues, I would submit that they are taking a wait and see. But let's see what happens. Well, they're not using it. We must be okay. The normalcy bias sets in. Oh, we'll just keep doing things the way we've done. The AI, well, we don't create content anyway. Or oh, I don't want people getting on AI and, putting us at risk. We've got tools for that. The generative AI use policy, we actually run you through that tomorrow, so you'll know how to make sure that that your company or your clients' companies are using the tools in their workflows and processes, but they've got guidelines that have been identified and agreed upon by the leadership and the employees. So it's cool stuff. Um, so if you have any questions, let's ask them. Segovia, we got any questions that have come in?
No, we got good comments. Tina says thank you
Great.
for opening up. There's Terrence says getting ready for AGI, supposed to be AI 100 times. Yeah,
Oh
lots of
yeah.
good feedback and comments, but nothing that's specifically needing to be answered.
So I am going to answer this question for Bill real quick. It's mermaid.js. So look, I tend to avoid the techie stuff, not only for my own use, but for everybody else, right? So, um, and real quick, where you're going to go from there, Bill, is you're actually going to go to once you've. So here's what that looks like. You take your transcript, raw. You don't even have to mess with it. You can have ahs and ums in there. I'm going to go to Chat GPT. And I'm going to, with that transcript, I'm going to attach it to my Chat GPT thread. And I'm going to say, I need your help in creating uh, a clearly defined SOP for the task discussed in this transcript, right? And if you want to get real clever and use the stuff we talked about yesterday, you'd start it with acting as an expert in creating SOPs from transcripts. I have an assignment for you. Here's the context. Here's what I want. It's going to spit out that output and you can review it. And if it looks good, then the next thing that I'm going to tell ChatGPT in that same thread, I'm going to say, this looks great. Give me the mermaid.js code for this SOP. Done. It's going to look like a bunch of gibberish if you're not familiar with coding. That's okay. The next place we're going to go is this site right here, mermaid.live. It's free. Okay. You're going to take that code that was pasted or that was copied from ChatGPT, that mermaid.js code. And you're going to come right over here to this box here, and you're just going to highlight everything and you're going to paste that code. And what's going to happen is you're going to end up getting a process map just like you see here, right? Now, is it pretty? Is it whatever? No, but while we're using these one time primarily, right? We're using this simply as a tool in the process of creating these AI powered processes. Now, what I just showed you, I learned from one of our faculty. I don't know it all. Collectively, our faculty, they know it all. This was from George Morris. George is part of our faculty from, he was a scaling up coach, is a scaling up coach. If you're not familiar with scaling up, it's like I referenced EOS earlier. Perhaps you've heard of the Rockefeller Habits or the Gazelles group. And it's like high speed entrepreneurs who are growing businesses, right? So some of our faculty, George, this is how he's doing this kind of geeky stuff. This isn't super geeky, but he's using these tools and you learn all of these types of tricks and hacks and, industry expert intel and the way that they do things and stuff that really helps compress the learning curve. And I think that if you've seen, yesterday we covered a lot of tools. We were on there for about 2 hours, but none of them were very complicated. And if you did your homework, you realize that you're like, I made an avatar of myself. And heck, if anybody did that, man, post it in the Facebook group. Go, post the win. Not complicated. If you know how to get signal from all the chatter, show you can do this and you can do this and this course and this YouTube and this TikTok and all that stuff, right? We distill. I'm not big on all that. I'm very big on give me the meat and potatoes so that I can get to work, right? I can get the job done and move on to the next thing, go home, whatever. Open up bandwidth, create more time, create more revenue, create more enjoyment, whatever it is. And our certification program is built in that style. If you've enjoyed the educational format that we've got here in the training, you're going to love enrolling as a chief AI officer candidate. Um, it's not me teaching the whole thing, so you get a break. You don't have to listen to me the whole time. Let's see here. We got any more questions? That Bill, I hope that helped. If we have any other, I'm happy to answer all of these things. There we go. Smart cuts, and it looks like Segovia already answered that question. Yeah, a lot of rabbit holes, Terrence says. So here's what we're going to do, Terrence, is we're going to make sure that you don't go down too many if you follow our methodology and our framework, right? It's going to make sure that you, listen, once you become AI enabled and you're AI capable and you're thinking in AI, you can go down as many rabbit holes as you want. But to get started, you and I would agree that that this is a little starting going down a bunch of rabbit holes and shiny object syndrome is not the best way to get results. Now,
We
you
do
got a
have
question
one
here. Do you
more.
have job placement? Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
I
good.
think that's a fantastic question. And let me share what we have with that. We do. We have relationships with headhunters. And we've started the outreach to other companies saying, if you're looking for AI talent, we've got graduates coming out of this program that are ready to assist your business, right? And you know what? I'm going to stop sharing my screen and we're going to go into good old fashioned. There we go. So we've got headhunters that we were featured in an article in Business Insider about the role of chief AI officer. And the other two people that they interviewed were recruiters, headhunters looking for chief AI officers. So we're in touch with those guys. But here's what's an interesting, I didn't expect this to happen, or I just didn't. It's not that I didn't expect it. I didn't even think about it happening. As students are graduating and they're getting certified as chief AI officers and they're letting the world know, hey, I know a thing or two about AI. I can help your business. They're getting flooded, right? People are, can you help me? Can you help me? Can you help me? Can you help me? And what's happening is some of these students are coming back and saying, guys, I got opportunities I can't fulfill. Hello, community. Is anybody else looking for stuff? So it's not just us helping with job placement. It's the actual chief AI officer community helping each other, because here's what's going to happen. Well, I'm not good at advertising, Chris, and I don't have a big following. You don't need it. What you need to do once you learn these things, even with the stuff that I've shared with you today and yesterday, and we'll share with you tomorrow, that's enough for you to start letting the world know. I've got some frameworks that I use for introducing AI, right? You don't have to claim to be an expert or anything like that, but you've got some skills that are now applicable. If you just let people know, we're going to go meet the team for happy hour or whatever. Oh yeah, I've been studying AI. What? Tell me more, right? Like, you're going to, just by you saying that you're investigating how to apply AI into your business, you're learning how to use the tools. They're not other people that want this. They're not hearing that. They're not going to play golf and it's like everybody's talking about AI, right? And if they are, they're like, do you have any help? We don't have any help either, right? You saying that you are capable of assisting somebody with AI in their business, they're not going to forget that. They're going to remember, oh, I know a guy. Oh, my boss was looking for that. Oh, one of my clients was looking for somebody. Just talking about it. You don't have to be Gary Vaynerchuk cranking out content, or like chief AI officer like we're doing, cranking out content. You just have to start letting your peer group, particularly like your colleagues, your warm market, know, hey, I'm learning AI. I know how to use AI in the business. Hey guys, here's an example of a process that I AIified in my own business. People are going to start saying, hey, how do you do that? Can you teach me? Can you do it for me? So yes, we do assist with job placement, but here's something that's important. When you graduate, we're not going to send you out there just with a bunch of textbook knowledge. Ideally, you've done the exercises internally that we've asked you to do, and you've started applying this stuff from day one in your business. So you're not like learning something and now I'm ready to go practice. You're learning and then almost immediately like pausing that video and going and doing that tool configuration or that process setup, right? But to graduate, to get certified, the certification program looks like this. There's 3 steps to that. Obviously, you need to complete the material. The next one is that you're going to complete a capstone project. Now, what does that mean? A capstone project is kind of like your final paper, your term paper. But what it is it is you participating in a robust AIification of a workflow or process. in your own business, ideally, so that you're leaving there and you're already getting the benefit of it. But maybe you don't have a business. Maybe you're like, hey, I'm actually going to quit my job and go be a consultant or whatever your plans are with it, and you don't have a project. Chief AI Officer has plenty of projects for you. I'll give you an example, and I may have shared this yesterday, but I thought it was pretty powerful. One of our students has a lot of clients, but wasn't quite ready to start to introduce AI just yet. So her capstone project was to create a series of GPTs, which we talked about yesterday, which are kind of like those mini chat GPTs that you can build and customize and train them on your data. But the task was, I mentioned our ignition framework for introducing or developing an AI business in collaboration with the client, with the company, right? There's a number of steps to that. So I said, hey, with very little instruction, which is probably what you're going to get when you get into the mix with clients or your own business, with very little instruction, I said, hey, we need 5 GPTs and they need to address the phases of ignition. Go get them, Tiger. 2 weeks later, I checked in. 2 weeks later, they show up with 5 GPTs that they had calibrated and tested and made sure that they matched up and that the output was accurate and consistent and all that. Way beyond what I was expecting. However, my next question was, how long did this take you? And their answer was, it took me 2 weeks. I was like, wow. I said, but if you were to go into a client and the client had a very similar request, how long would it take you? And their answer, it would take me an afternoon. They did the hard part. They built it. They got their reps. They did the homework. They did the capstone project. And what that did was it prepared them to go into the real world, into client environments, into their, the boss's office or whatever, and with confidence be able to say, maybe they don't know all the answers, but be able to say, a custom GPT would support that output. Tell you what, you guys go take lunch. Done. You know what that looks like to a client? It looks like you've got superpowers, right? This effort of the capstone project, make sure that you've got some on-the-job training, whether it's your own business again, or you're doing a project that we've set up for you internally. Now, the capstone project's done. The next step for you for graduation is going to be create a piece of content about the project that you did. The reason why, twofold. If you can explain what you did to me, you can that means you really understand it and you can explain it to a client, right? And if you recall my statement, a confused mind always says no. If you go in there and you're like, well, I don't, but if you can go in there and confidently say, oh, here's what we do. I'd probably use this tool and ... right? You look, again, like a superstar, the rock star of business. But you've also got a content piece that you've created that you can now start to use on the social platforms. And that's letting people know, hey, Chris is AI. He's an AI guy now. What? Huh? It's going to start to notify the marketplace, notify your warm market, your colleagues, peers, friends, that you're taking this stuff seriously and you are able to get results using AI. Your everybody else who's on the same strata as you in business, not anymore. You're now the AI person, right? Like your peers and even the people that are higher up in the organization are going to start coming to you and saying, so you know a little bit about AI, right? Yep. Take a seat. Let me tell you about it, right? And then the final step, so you've done capstone project, you've documented what you did in the capstone project to create that content piece, and then you and me or someone on the faculty will have an exit interview. And I like to look at this almost like when someone goes for their PhD. One of the final steps is they have to defend their dissertation. They have to sit in front of a room of peers who are going to ask them to really make sure, does this candidate understand this subject matter at this level? You and I are going to have a conversation. I'm not looking to grill you. I'm not looking to make you stumble, misstep, or anything like that. But what I'm looking for is, are you thinking in AI? Because if you're thinking in AI, I don't care what tools you use. I don't care any of that stuff. I can put you in a business. I can give you loose requirements, and you're going to be able to go, okay, borrowing upon the frameworks that I already have, I know that I can do this. I'd probably do this. I'd go to Perplexity. I'd research this. That's the answers I'm looking for. It's not a pass fail. It's a, Are you AI enabled? Are you AI literate? Are you a chief AI officer? Are you an AI expert? So that's even better than job placement, or as good as job placement before you graduate, right? Now, once you graduate, you'll be able to go with confidence and talk to anybody and say, yeah, I've got experience. Okay. Jeff says, how can AI help with a copywriting business besides writing copy? A number of ways. Um, an easy way, and it might sound a little sophisticated, but what I would do is I would take my copy, Jeff, and I would go to the models. I'd go to ChatGPT and I would say, I need your help with evaluating the efficacy of my copy. I want you to act as uh, 10 different copywriting experts, um, and give me feedback. I want you to act as Clayton Makepeace and Dan Kennedy and Ogilvy and anybody you can think of. And ChatGPT will have all of those brains evaluate your copy. Okay. Well, it's still kind of copywriting, Chris. It doesn't help me. Okay. Now let's do this. I want you to synthesize an audience of my likely buyers and evaluate. And if you can feed ChatGPT what that is, my average buyer, the example I used yesterday was weight loss and man over 50 or something like that. And you can feed it what your avatars are, and it synthesizes those personalities, and it takes all of the data it's been trained on, acting as those avatars, and then it reads your copy, and it gives you input on how would clients likely react to this? Would they understand this? Would they be engaged to sell it? Now, obviously, Jeff, content creation for a copywriter won't hurt at all. If I was in the market for talented copy, honestly, I would want AI enabled. I wouldn't want somebody that used AI to write my copy unless it was really good output. But I would want to know that the individual who was working with me was AI enabled. So creating content about how you're using AI to produce better, faster, stronger. As a client, I'd be like, okay, I can wait 6 weeks for and spend 30 grand for this guy's copy, or in a week I can have equivalent copy for less than 30 grand. And even if it was the same price, I'm getting it faster. I can go to market faster because of that. Um, there's obviously, as a copywriter, you are probably wearing a lot of hats in your business, whether that's, chief marketing officer, chief operating officer. Any one of those roles has the ability to benefit from AI. Now, how? We're going to look at the processes related. I want you to delegate and elevate for any of those things. And that you start to AIify, automate, or augment any of those processes. So it's not just about domain specific. It can be universal. Every business is going to be running customer service to some degree, hiring and firing to some degree, payroll, all those things. So I'd be looking at it not exclusively through the copywriting lens, but through the lens of, hey, I'm a business owner. My output happens to be copy. So I hope that was helpful. Guys, any more questions? I'm happy to answer them. I hope that there were some nuggets, some takeaways for everybody today. And then tomorrow, here's what to expect tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about the opportunities that exist for someone like you, someone who's becoming AI enabled, somebody who is an AI on their way to becoming an AI expert, a chief AI officer. I'm going to show you data, recent data showing the impact that AI has on a business beyond what we shared with the Boston Consulting Group example. I'm going to show you feedback from executives on what their position is on the individual who is AI capable, AI enabled, as compared to everybody else. I'm going to show you with real data that the decision makers and the people who are responsible for steering the direction of a company, they're nervous because they know that AI is impacting their business strategy, and they're looking around and they're not finding anybody to help them. That's where you're going to come in. All right. So with that, let's remember the homework, please. The homework was to do your delegate and elevate exercise, build a process map for one of those, and then as a bonus, identify where I can automate, augment, or AIify each of those steps in the process. And for double bonus, actually introduce a tool into that process. Even if it's just one node, you're going to be getting some practice. Okay. With that, if we don't have any other questions, I am happy to call it a day, and I will see you guys in the Facebook group. Same time tomorrow. We'll be starting at 3 p.m. Eastern. Was that noon Pacific? With a fascinating topic. It won't be as long as the first day, and it won't be as long as today either. But you're going to leave knowing exactly what the future looks like for somebody like you who is getting tuned up on AI. Thanks, everybody. See you tomorrow. Do your homework. Bye.